let me tell you a familiar story. You sit down to work, you open your laptop, you tell yourself, okay, just focus for 30 minutes. And then you see a notification. You remember that one text you never answered. You think, I'll just check for a second. But that second turns into 10 minutes, then 20, then an hour. And suddenly, you're deep in some random article about why cats knock things over. Sound familiar? You didn't mean to get lost. You didn't plan to waste the day. But somehow, your brain just slipped away. It's like living with a mind that has 10 tabs open all the time. You're replying to one email, and in the middle of typing, you remember you haven't had water today. You get up to grab a glass, but on the way to the kitchen, you see your phone lighting up. You check it, and now you're scrolling through something that doesn't even matter. 2 hours later, the email's still half written. The glass of water's still empty. And you're wondering, what is wrong with me? But here's what no one ever explains. Nothing's wrong with you. You just have a mind that moves faster than the moment you're in. Your brain doesn't walk. It runs. It's curious, restless, always scanning for something new, something stimulating, something that feels alive. And when the world around you feels slow or predictable, your mind wanders off to find its own adventure. That's not laziness. That's momentum. You see, people who get distracted easily often aren't scatterbrained. They're over-engaged. Their attention isn't gone. It's just divided. They notice everything. The faint sound in the background. The flicker of light from a screen. The sudden shift in someone's tone. Their brain is constantly absorbing, processing, connecting dots. And because it never stops collecting, it struggles to stay. The same mind that loses focus quickly can also solve problems others can't even see. The same restlessness that drives you crazy is the same engine behind creativity, intuition, and insight. But without direction, that energy turns inward. It starts to scatter, to spiral, to drain you. So maybe the question isn't, why can't I focus? Maybe it's, why am I trying to use a racing mind in a world built for walking? You're not broken. You're just operating at a different frequency. And if you learn how to tune it, that same distracted brain can become your biggest strength. Let's get something straight. Not everyone who gets distracted has ADHD, and not everyone with ADHD is unfocused. Sometimes what looks like chaos is just an intelligent mind trying to find something worthy of its attention. Because your brain isn't bored, it's understimulated. The task isn't too hard, it's too easy. That's why you lose focus halfway through a meeting. Why you reread the same paragraph 3 times. Why your mind starts building entire worlds in your head when someone's talking about the weather. You're not zoning out because you can't focus. You're zoning out because you can't pretend. The average brain can sit through routine. Yours can't. It's wired for novelty, for challenge, for meaning. That's why people like you often feel out of place in schools or offices. You're being told to walk in straight lines when your brain was built to fly in spirals. Psychologists call it dopamine-driven cognition. Your brain thrives on reward, discovery, creation. It lights up when there's something to solve and shuts down when there isn't. That's not a deficit. That's design. But in a world that rewards consistency over curiosity, you end up feeling like there's something wrong with you. Because while everyone else seems fine doing one thing at a time, you're chasing 5 thoughts, 3 tabs, and a half-finished idea that could change everything if you could just hold on to it long enough. You see, high IQ, hyper-curious minds don't lose focus because they're broken. They lose focus because they see too many paths at once. Where most people see one solution, you see 10. And your mind jumps between them, trying to find the perfect one, until you forget what you started. It's not distraction, it's depth, misdirected. And that's the irony. The same brain that struggles to focus on small things can obsess for hours on something that matters. When a topic excites you, you disappear into it. time vanishes. You don't eat, you don't move, you don't even hear your name being called. That's not ADHD, that's flow. That's genius hiding inside restlessness. You don't need to silence your mind. You need to aim it, because once you find a focus worthy of your chaos, your distraction becomes obsession. Your scattered energy becomes mastery, and the same mind that used to exhaust you starts to change everything around you. There's a reason brilliant people rarely sit still. Their mind doesn't wait. It hunts. It's scanning for stimulation, for something worthy of its electricity. And if the world doesn't provide it, it creates its own chaos. That's why you start unnecessary projects at 2 a.m. Why you can't stop rearranging your thoughts, your space, your life. Because your brain refuses to live on autopilot. But here's the dangerous part. If you don't guide that energy, it turns against you. It becomes anxiety, guilt, self-criticism. It makes you feel like you're losing control, when in truth you're just running out of direction. You're not failing. You're ungrounded. Think of your mind like lightning. If it hits aimlessly, it destroys. But when it's grounded, it lights up entire cities. That's why people like Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, or even Da Vinci were labeled distracted, unstable, or obsessive in their time, because they weren't built to follow the world. They were wired to reimagine it. Their thoughts moved faster than society could process. Their curiosity made them restless. But once they anchored that chaos to purpose, it became innovation. You have the same blueprint, the same restlessness, the same potential. You're not supposed to focus on everything. You're supposed to find the few things that set your entire brain on fire. And when you do, that's when everything shifts. Suddenly, the noise fades. The distractions stop calling your name. Because the moment your mind finds something it truly cares about, it locks in. It enters flow. That's why you can spend hours writing, painting, coding, thinking, and forget to eat or sleep. That's not a lack of discipline. That's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. But you can't live there forever. Even lightning burns out if it never grounds. So between those bursts of brilliance, you need silence, stillness, empty space. Because focus isn't about forcing yourself to think harder. It's about giving your mind room to breathe. And here's the truth. The people who master their focus aren't the ones who can think non-stop. They're the ones who know when to stop thinking. That pause, that silence, isn't wasted time. It's the moment your mind sharpens itself again. Because clarity doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from alignment. Here's the paradox. The faster your mind moves, the more still your life has to become. Most people try to fight distraction by adding more apps, more lists, more alarms, more noise. But the truth is, a fast brain doesn't need more control. It needs clarity, because the mind that runs at full speed only crashes when it has nowhere to go. So here's the shift. Stop trying to slow your brain down. Start teaching it where to land. Rule 1. Give your mind a mission. When you wake up, don't just say, "I need to focus." That's too vague. Your brain needs something to chase. Say instead, "Today, I'll finish this one thing that matters." Name it. Visualize it. Anchor it. A brain that has a target doesn't wander. It hunts. Rule 2. Protect your mental space. If your environment is cluttered, your thoughts will be too. Fast thinkers absorb every piece of sensory data around them. Sounds, lights, movement, energy. So when your room is chaotic, your mind becomes chaos. But when your space is calm, your brain follows. Set your world up like a runway. Clear, quiet, ready for takeoff. Rule 3. Stop multitasking. It's killing your brilliance. You don't need to do everything at once. You just think faster than your body can keep up. So your mind hops from one spark to another, mistaking speed for progress. But mastery comes from depth, not movement. The deepest minds are not those who think the most, but those who can hold one thought long enough to see it all the way through. That's why journaling, meditating, or even walking alone feels so powerful for people like you. It's not about stillness. It's about single-channel thinking. One track, one idea, one rhythm. Because when you slow the input, your insight sharpens. And that's the secret no one tells you. The cure for distraction isn't focus, it's alignment. You don't fight your brain's speed, you flow with it. You channel it into something that matters enough to make everything else disappear. And that's when the magic happens. Your brain stops fighting itself. You stop calling it a problem. And for the first time, you realize that the very thing you thought was chaos was your genius trying to get out. You've been told your whole life that you can't focus, that you start too many things, that you never finish enough. But maybe the problem was never your focus. Maybe it was the world you were told to focus on. You were taught to fit your lightning into a light bulb, to think slower, to shrink your mind just to make other people comfortable. And in doing that, you forgot. Your distraction isn't a flaw. It's a compass. It's pointing you toward the things that actually move you. Because every time your mind wanders, it's whispering, "This isn't where I belong. This isn't what I'm meant for." That's not failure. That's intuition. So stop trying to tame your fire. Learn to aim it. If you get lost in thought easily, it's because your thoughts go deep. If you lose interest quickly, it's because you crave meaning, not routine. And if you burn out often, it's because you've been using your brilliance to survive in a system built for mediocrity. But you don't have to live like that anymore. Once you start understanding how your mind works, you stop apologizing for it. You stop comparing your process to everyone else's. You start building a life that fits your rhythm, not one that punishes it. Because the goal isn't to become normal, it's to become effective. To turn restlessness into vision, curiosity into creation, impulse into insight. And here's the part no one tells you. Once you master your attention, you don't just gain focus, you gain freedom. Freedom from guilt, from self-doubt, from the belief that something's wrong with you. Because nothing's wrong with you. You just think in color while everyone else still thinks in black and white. So if you're the one who drifts off, who loses track, who never feels like you're doing enough, you are enough. You've always been enough. You just haven't been shown how to use what you have. And that's what this space, this channel is for. To remind you that you're not scattered, you're not lazy, you're not broken, you're just awake in a world that's half asleep. So if this spoke to you, if something in your chest said, "That's me," then the next video is for you. Because now that you know your mind isn't the problem, it's time to learn how to make it your power. AD, HD, or high IQ? Maybe. It was brilliance all along.